Welcome everyone, this is Real Republican News. I'm your host Jason Mariner. If you haven't noticed, your country is changing and the change is being forced upon you. We're going to talk about policing and defunding the police today because we hear all the time on the mainstream media and in social media that we must defund the police, end policing as we know it. Now, to the casual observer, it seems that they just want to do away with police officers, get rid of them in full. That would mean there would be absolutely no one to enforce the law, and it would be left up to us to defend ourselves. Yet, they also want to take that right away from us by infringing upon the Second Amendment. But if you listen closely, what they're actually saying is change policing as we know it, reform policing as we know it, end policing as we know it. And if you think a step further, like we're playing chess here, because that's what this is at this point. This is a game of strategy. They don't want to end policing because they know that it would lead to absolute mayhem and chaos. They want to change policing as we know it, meaning currently, as the country exists, the police officers that patrol your neighborhood, city, town, wherever you live, they work for you. You pay their salaries when you pay your taxes. If you break the law, they'll arrest you. If you don't, and someone's attacking you, they'll come and protect you. But they work for you. You pay their salaries when you pay your taxes. They want to change it as we know it. They want to federalize it, I think. That's my opinion on the matter. You got to really listen to this stuff. Change policing as we know it. Just like H.R. 1, right? Take H.R. 1, for instance. H.R. 1 is a completely non-racist, non-partisan, totally legitimate bill that just means you have to be alive, have an ID, live in this country, be alive. I should say that one again. Common sense, stuff like that, to vote. They don't want that to happen. They want to federalize voting, meaning take it away from the states, bring it up to Washington, which means that they would control it. That doesn't seem fair. That's kind of like having the referee in a game belong to one of the teams that's playing. There's no room for fairness. Same thing with policing. Let's say, for instance, they federalize policing. It'll be much easier for them to enforce their will upon you because if you're not paying their salaries, who will be? Because they're not going to work for free. Well, the federal government will be paying their salaries with your tax dollars then, which will then mean if the federal government, i.e. the radical left, tells them to do something like go knock on doors and take guns away, even though that's unconstitutional, they'll do it because if they don't, they'll lose their job. They'll be fired for insubordination. That's what I think the goal here is. You have to really listen to what they're actually saying. They don't want to get rid of police. They just want to change the structure of law enforcement in America. It's not about racism. They absolutely know that police officers are not racist and after the minorities of this country. Police officers are good. They put their lives on the line. They protect the minorities. More white people are killed by white cops every year than minorities are, but we don't ever hear about that. That's why they're pushing this racist police agenda, to get you to sign off on the fact that, yeah, maybe it's a good idea to defund the police and change it as we know it. Little do you know that they're going to control policing, because I'm willing to bet right now, if President Biden executive orders the Second Amendment into oblivion and tells all the law enforcement agencies in Texas to go take everyone's guns away, they're not going to do it. They wouldn't in Florida. Most places wouldn't do it because it's unconstitutional. And the police, again, they right now work for you. They're not going to knock on your door and execute an unlawful search warrant because you're a legal gun owner. But again, if they control policing, they can tell them what to do, because if they don't, they lose their job, and that's not something that they want to happen. It's the same thing they're doing with absolutely every facet of American life. Control the voting. Control you. Change the population of the country. They're letting all these migrants in, by the way, to change the population so they can change the vote. They believe that if they let all these people in, They're going to provide them with food, clothing, shelter, all free stuff, and they're going to secure their vote forever and ever. That these people will never have it in them to get a job on their own and realize that they're being used as pawns in a political game. That's what happened in California. California in the early 80s, was a Republican state. It's not anymore because they changed the population. We saw it in the last election. Look at Nevada, Arizona, states like that. The population is changing. So is the vote. They're trying to do it all across America. I guarantee you this, all these migrants, like I've been saying, will be fanned out into Republican districts to again change the vote. It's another way for them to control everything. They're going to pack the courts so they can control them. They're going to add more states so they can control the Senate. Because if they add more states, they'll be able to add more blue seats to the Senate. They'll control that. They'll control every facet of the government, and if then they can control policing, they can basically control everything that you do. They can say, hey, go arrest them if they don't wear a mask. Go arrest them if they don't stay inside. Go arrest them if they don't do this or that or whatever. And there will be no lawful and due process in existence in this country. The Constitution will be out the window. So I caution you, when you hear defund the police and you just write it off as ridiculous, of course it'll never happen. Look at what they're really trying to do. They're really trying to federalize policing, federal troops. They'll work for them, not you and I. They'll serve them, not you and I. They'll do it, they say. So I think we've got to really think about that one and stop just writing it off as nonsense. It's a political power grab, once again. So the radical left is very good at doing what they do. We need to get very good at doing what they do. That's how they affect change. I think we need to start thinking about using some of their tactics and getting good at doing what they do. Now, I'm not saying to get violent and stoop to their level, because I'll never condone that or approve of it. I think Republicans have better morals and values than that anyway. But we need to start organizing and assembling better. We need to start running for office better. We need to start exposing the lies that they're telling. Again, they don't want to end policing. It'll lead to chaos and mayhem. They want to control policing. That's my story as it pertains to defunding the police. They don't want to defund it. They want to fund it themselves so they can control it. Think about that. Until next time, my name is Jason Mariner. Watch out for the radical left, because they are coming for you and your freedom, your rights, and the futures of your children. So until next time, I say be well, God bless you, your families, those around you, in the United States Constitution. Be well, everyone.